Professor, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Anita Faye Hill was born in Lone Tree, Oklahoma on July 30th, 1956. As a great-granddaughter of slaves, she knew she had to work extra hard to earn the same opportunities that others were given. She became the valedictorian at Morris High School as a result of her hard work. In 1977, she graduated from Oklahoma University with a degree in psychology, and 3 years later she earned a Juris degree with honors from Yale Law School. That same year, Hill became part of the District of Columbia Bar. She then became a law associate at Wald, Hardraker & Ross. In 1981, she became attorney advisor to the Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of Education, Clarence Thomas.
Hill met Thomas through a mutual friend. Thomas asked her to be his assistant after he was appointed as Assistant Secretary of Education for Civil Rights in the early 1980s. They worked well together for the first 3 months, but then he began to harass her. Hill claims that Thomas pressured her to go out with him in public, which she declined every time. She also said that he made inappropriate comments towards her in the office, first when he was the Assistant Secretary of Education and when she continued working for him after his move to chairman of the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, or EEOC. He also began to use work situations to talk about sex. He discussed pornographic material involving animals, rape, and group sex. He also discussed his personal prowess. Hill's work relationship with Thomas ended when she accepted an offer to teach at Oral Roberts. He asked her to dinner one more time before she left. She declined, and he covered himself by calling it a professional courtesy. He allegedly referenced his behavior once when Hill left and said that if she ever told anyone about his behavior, it would ruin him. It wasn't an apology or an explanation for his actions.
In 1991, Thurgood Marshall, the first African American to be appointed to the Supreme Court, retired, and Clarence Thomas was nominated by President Bush to take his place. He wasn't regarded as well qualified, and many suspected he was nominated just to uphold the Supreme Court's diversity and to get another conservative justice, although Bush said that Thomas's race had nothing to do with his decision. Thomas's nomination posed a dilemma to Hill. Should she stay silent and allow a man guilty of sexual harassment serve on the highest court in the land? Or should she speak out and risk massive scrutiny and further harassment from the press? Ultimately, Hill listened to her gut and chose to do the latter. On October 11, 1991, Anita Hill testified before the Senate.
With him. What happened next and telling the world about it are the two most difficult experiences of my life. It is only after a great deal of agonizing consideration and great number of sleepless nights that I am able to talk of these unpleasant matters.
She relayed the inappropriate remarks and questions Thomas directed to her during her time at the EEOC, including the infamous incident of the Coke can. She spoke calmly and patiently for 8 hours.
To a government cafeteria. After a brief discussion of work, he would turn the conversation to a discussion of sexual matters. His conversations were very vivid. He spoke about acts that he had seen in pornographic films involving such matters as women having sex with animals and films showing group sex or rape scenes.
October 12th, Thomas was questioned about the allegations. He maintained that Hill was only stereotyping him as a black man by saying he was sexually aggressive. Senator Orrin Hatch said that Hill's allegations were stolen from the movie The Exorcist and from a Kansas federal court case.
Side Sharon. In a guarded tone, she described an encounter between the senator and the director. Dennings had remarked to him in passing, said Sharon, that there appeared to be, quote, an alien pubic hair floating around in my gin. Unquote.
On the third day, Hill's representative said that she had passed a lie detector test, but a friend of Clarence Thomas's from law school, John N. Doggett III, claimed that Hill was mentally unstable and therefore the test was unreliable and its results had no bearing on the case.
Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill, as I knew them back then, were good, decent, bright, committed people. And it is hard for me to be here